So I'm doing a test on this servo, like wipe the nozzle arm, I don't know what they call it. Now I have had issues with this. I haven't figured out what this issue is yet. I've just tried it today and it's been alright, but when I was trying it off the SD cards, it seems like when this arm sort of goes out and then comes back, basically, when the arm came back, and that sometimes, although other times, it would trip, it would almost reset the MAL and the ramps sort of software and shut down the computer, and then it would reboot it, almost implying there's not enough power or something. Now this is coming direct from a plug in the ramps. There's no like boost of power to this stepper here. I'll talk about this stepper I'm using. Well, I'll show you the details of this stepper. Okay, but at the moment I'm using pronto face. I've got a big G-Code written. The G-Code basically, okay, so the actions of the G-Code are, first of all, to bring the arm forward to this position here, what I'm going to call a park position, where it can be parked and stopped there out the way, but also that it can be sort of cleaned out, because this is supposed to catch any bits of filament that come off the nozzle here. Well, hopefully it will. And that can be sort of cleaned out if need be. Need the front of the printer over this side. So that's the first thing it does, is make sure this is over here. Then it does a home, so we know where the nozzle is. The nozzle could be anywhere to start off with, without any heat on. No heat on. Okay, so it does a home. Then it raises the nozzle to a height where this is a piece of silicon sheet, almost cut to size. Just a second, I'll show you what's come off. It's come off this. This has already been cut and used for other things. This was like a baking sheet, just from a like a supermarket thing, and it's used for baking on, apparently. Or cut a piece to size by, well, about 8mm by 30mm to go into here, and that's clamped in with these two screw heads. I've put tiny bit of super glue on the heads of those, just so that they won't turn, because I've got them going in this way. I thought if I put the nuts on the inside, they might be sticking out and it might cause problems cleaning out any little bits of filament in here. So I put the heads on the like inside. These are Allen button headed flange balls. I'll put a better title down here, and they go out that way with the nuts on the outside. They've got locking nuts on these. This, you might have noticed in my other one, it was wobbling up and down a bit. Now I might have, there's a horn in here, the servo horn. So it's got this servo horn in here. Now I might have actually bent it a bit on my previous print I did. The first iteration I did, this has a bit of an indent in here for the servo horn to go into, and it was a bit small, and when I've tightened it down it might have bent the plastic a bit. That is possible. Anyway, this was a bit loose, but all I've done here is put two thinnish pieces of card under here, just some cornflakes packet or something, I don't know, very small, just under the arms underneath there to pad it out, and that makes it a lot tighter. I mean, obviously I'm not going to force it, because obviously you could move it or even break it possibly. Now in my case, I've extended the wires. I've just used some LAN wire, local area network wire I had, chopped the wire and like extended them. It's almost well, about 1.5 meters I think, going to my ramps. And obviously you want to see this sort of, well, working in a way. As I say, when I tried this off an SD card, caused problems. But I'm going to do it off this pronto face just now to show you that, well, the last couple of ones I've done it seems to be working. Just lining this up a bit. So the actions are, first of all, bring the arm forward just to make sure it is out forward, out the way. Okay, this is all with no temperature on. Well, this test code doesn't have any temperature built up on anyway, so we're not going to get any use. This is just a piece of test G-Code to see if the heights are okay. So bring the arm forward, home the nozzle, centre of the bed in my case, raise the nozzle to a height where it's just going to brush the edge of this. You don't want it catching too much on the, in this case, silicon sheet rubber. I mean, there's some flexibility in that, so it's got some give in it. I think if it does catch this, that it will trip the ramps. That's my understanding. I haven't done a full test of that. I haven't had time yet anyway. Is that if this gets stuck as it's moving backwards or forwards, the ramps will just sort of stop and reboot. Okay, but anyway, you raise the nozzle to that height there. Well, you bring the nozzle left, because it'll be in the centre of the bed after home in my case. Bring the nozzle left, raise it, or whichever way, and then the arm's going to go forward, go across the nozzle. Well, actually I ask it to go forward. I don't ask it to stop, but I ask it to go forward just before the nozzle, and I ask it to go the rest of the way. Now I do that because I might want to later on add a pause between that, just to stop before the nozzle, just to park it a little bit, maybe let some more filament ooze out before it actually does wipe the nozzle. So then it brushes across the nozzle, because the nozzle's over here at the height. This arm will be round here. Then it raises the nozzle out the way before it actually comes back to here, which is the parking position. So that's basically the actions we're looking for. Okay, let's go. Is that all in shot? I think it is. Let's just move a little bit there, because I want to see the homing. So I'm going to use pronto face now, and that's going to print out this G-Code. So it has moved this over here. It's already in the park position, so it doesn't need to. But if it wasn't in the park position over here, it would have. Now it's doing the home. Yeah, using a BL touch here. And then to move left, see how the arm goes across, basically sort of wipes the nozzle. The nozzle, I almost chopped my finger off, the nozzle comes up and then the arm comes back, ready if need be for cleaning out. I've got a bit of extra G-Code in here just to like simulate the printer working in a way after that, to make sure it's not going to trip. So that, without actually testing, like raising the temperature of the nozzle, I'm going to do that just now and seeing if we can get some leakage, and then seeing if it does wipe it off, so to speak. A more real well test, I suppose. That's okay, but when I tried this same code on my SD card, sometimes it's one of these intermittent things, I think. Sometimes it seems to trip and reset the ramps. I need to do more testing on this. I'm going to change angles slightly. Right, I'm going to do the same print again. So this is again using Pronto face. I mean, I could use Coolware or what have you. It's just Pronto face I think is pretty good if I want to send individual single commands, so to speak. I'll just try and, well, I'll try and zoom in. Yeah, see how that switch, then it raises it. Now I've had to put a delay in there so that it has time to raise the nozzle before it sort of comes back. That's pretty good, I think. Yeah. So that works, as you see, that works quite well there. Okay. So this print should be raising the nozzle temperature to 245. 245 is my normal ABS sort of print temperature at the moment. Now it's not raising the temperature yet, it's going to wait. Actually, and when it does start raising the temperature, I'm asking it, well, the command is to ask it to wait to raise that temperature, basically to get to that temperature before it continues. So we should have a pause situation here, and to a certain extent I could say with any luck, there we are, it's doing it, it's starting to do it now. Let's zoom in a bit, let's see if we get any use when it starts coming to temperature. It is shown on the display 245, LCD 12864 as a target temperature, and the temperature is increasing. It's at 60 at the moment. Tripod isn't not very good here. There we are. So you see how much ooze is coming out here. And one problem is that this ooze might actually drop off even before the arm's moved round, unless well, I could obviously change the G-Code. Getting quite a bit of ooze out now. And I aren't telling that to feed, it's just oozing. 233. 235 odd, and it's coming up to 245 quite soon, so it will continue on with the arm should move forward, and hopefully it will wipe that off. Let's see what happens if we can. Does it even actually work? Good, that, oh, I thought that ooze might actually snap off there when it touched the bed. Well, it has wiped it, yes. And you might see here that the ooze has been caught on here. It's not actually in the tray. So here's the ooze, or most of the ooze here. I think it's actually just sticking to the edge of the silicone sheet here. I'm not sure how well this silicone sheet will last. But it has cleaned the nozzle to a certain extent. It's got shot on a lot of that. I'm going to try this again. Now, if you notice here, this is straight after it's cleaned that nozzle, well, almost straight after. Well, it moves some practice sort of simulating printing to a certain extent, moving the cabbage, and it's oozing again. But then I would probably want to do more than one clean. That in a way simulates the auto leveling there. And the nozzle is already at pretty high temperature. It's at 245 still. Yeah, there's a little bit of ooze on the nozzle there. Don't know whether we can see it. E1 heating it says, but it's actually, and there it goes to clean. There's his nozzle and comes back, and then I'm doing a simulate in the print. Yes, it has got that. I don't know if you can see it in here. Pretty. This is the same colour filament that I'm printing in. So you might just see a tiny slither of the filament there. Hopefully you can see that. And then when it's forward, I can sweep it out of here. Okay, let's do this again. And there's some hose on there. Let's try and do it from a lower angle to show you. Now it's raising the nozzle to the height of the wiper arm. It just wants to scrape on this really. It's raising the temperature of the nozzle, making sure that's at the temperature it should be. And it's going across. Now that hasn't really wiped that off, has it? So I'm gonna, I wasn't really watching that closely. Let me, it moves very fast, this servo arm. Now I think it's more of a case of that tiny bit of filament that was on, it's almost knocked it over, but still, I think it's still on there. I can see a little bit of filament on the nozzle there. But obviously this arm could like go forwards and backwards, but I'd have to probably see about changing the design a bit to catch any coming the other way, so to speak. Like what I've done, I've got exactly the same code before I do other stuff. I put on my SD card in the LCD 12864. I'm just going to select that. Servo nozzle clean test. So it should do exactly the same routine. Let's see what happens. Now I have known when I was doing the SD card. Oops, I should probably zoom in, not out. Before is that it seemed to be tripping the ramps. Right, so it's forming. Now it's raising the nozzle to the height ready for wiping the nozzle. Moving left, yep. E1 is heating, the nozzle is now heating, it's had a bit of time to cool down from previously. Well, the nozzle is now at 240, I'm asking for 245 and there's not really much use come out to really test it with, but I'll leave it going. A small amount of hose on there. I don't think it's really, oh well, it hasn't tripped. The other day when I was trying this, it was like resetting the ramps. I'm going to try that again. I'll cut a lot of this out. Okay, it's gone through the start of this routine again and it's waiting for the nozzle to, and then it's going across the white. Yep. I'm actually, well, I thought here that putting some sort of brush on here, or as well as this, in addition to the silicone piece, a brush or something. A brush might be a bit like sweep the nozzle, well, round the edges of the nozzle to a certain extent better. Oh, by the way, the other day also I noticed that when I was plugging in the ramps, the servo would move just slightly. You see it would be here, then it would move like left a bit. about 5 degrees, maybe 10. Now I have done brief looking on the internet about that issue, and some people say yeah, Arduinos, which is basically ramps are based off Arduinos. That's what the A stands for, I believe, in the word ramps is Arduino. Is that is an issue with servos, is that when you're switching in the Arduino on, or in this case ramps, it sort of gets a trigger on the servo, just a small one. But I haven't noticed that today. So I'm going to be looking at this a bit more. I mean, this is quite firm, this silicon rubber I've got in here. But I don't know, that's a sort of semi-success, I suppose. The only way I really know is when I actually come to actually do a real print.